The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/expat2020. Hey everyone, welcome to The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. This is episode 36. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Dan. Dan, how you doing today, man?
Not too bad. How are you getting on?
We had a big earthquake this morning, 5.0. Other than that, I've been fine and dandy.
Good. That sounds like a decent rattle.
Yeah, decent rattle indeed. It's pretty interesting how, like on Japanese TV, they give you like a flash warning about 30 seconds or so before the shaking starts.
Yeah.
So
get to a doorway or under a table.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so this week we have a special guest, and he's making his first appearance on the show here on episode 36. So SadBoyGee, Twitch streamer. So welcome to the show, G, and why don't you tell all of our listeners out there, a little bit about yourself, what kind of games you like to play, and what are you playing now?
Hello, everybody. So I'm kind of a random variety streamer, kind of a feel-good type of streamer. My streams are mostly about my experiences with games and everything, and I play like a large variety of different games, from Persona 5 Royal to Resident Evil 7 to Dead by Daylight, and to just today started playing Returnal, stuff like that. I kind of just do a random variety of things. I focus a lot on production. I try and make it as unique as possible. Every stream is going to be different from the last one in some type of way, shape, or form. Just anything to entertain people, to give people a laugh or something to kind of take them away from their day and just kind of experience the stream in some type of way, shape, or form.
I see.
That's awesome.
Tell us a little bit about Returnal. So, how is it so far? And, what is the game all about?
So, I've played about 5 hours so far. And basically, without spoiling anything, it's a roguelike. You play as, well, I'll just say an astronaut. I'm not sure what she is specifically, but she's out in space and she crash lands on this planet, and you kind of like explore the planet a little bit, and you're trying to figure out how to get off the planet and basically where you are exactly. And the more you explore through the planet, the more you start to find these random things. Like you actually kind of run into a segment where you find your own house on this random planet, and you're like, oh, how'd this get here? And you go through and you explore, and you get like these cutscenes and these visions and everything, and it kind of unveils this like longer story and like what might have actually happened rather than you crash landing on this planet. And there's a whole bunch of lore to be explored, but it's a roguelike game. Every time you die, you start the level over, and every time you die, the level's different. So it's refreshed, different enemies, different weapons, upgrades, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of replay value, I'd say, there. Plus there's like multiple bosses and everything, but personally, I'm having a great time with it. It's a bit of sci-fi horror, which I'm a big fan of. I love like the alien movies and everything like that, so it's definitely up my alley. And plus it's roguelike, which is one of my favorite like genres of video games, because I feel like those type of games have a lot of replay value, and you can sink a lot of hours into those type of games. So I'm personally loving it. I think it might be one of my favorite PS5 titles to date so far.
Awesome. Dan, do you have any questions about Returnal for G?
No, I want to keep it as much in the dark as possible, but what I heard was, that was good. I mean, a lot of it was just stuff we'd seen, in the trailers and stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about playing the game at some point in the very distant future, apparently. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Okay, G, so thank you so much for that information on Returnal and what you've been playing. And we will be back, Dan and I, to talk about what we've been playing after this brief message.
Before Dan and Expat discuss what they have been playing, this episode of The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, will be going up on Patreon at patreon.com/expat2020 in early access for the first 3 days after recording. So if you would like to support the show and become a patron at the entry tier 1 level at $1 per month and get early access to every episode and listen ad-free along with other perks, including exclusive post-show content after every show, plus special bonus episodes, please visit patreon.com/expat2020 for further details. On Tuesdays each week, the podcast will be uploaded to all of the free podcast services, or you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Expat's YouTube channel, Expat 2020 Gaming. Just download your favorite podcast app, or open Spotify and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a Discord called The Arena Podcast, where you can join and chat with the Arena Podcast community, and a website at expat2020.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. Finally, you can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena AMPGNP, as well as on Instagram at The Arena_podcast. Now, back to the show.
So, Dan, I've been playing Second Extinction. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. It just came out on Game Pass, and on Xbox. It's in game preview right now, so it's in beta format. But yeah, I've been playing a little bit of that. It's a co-op shooter, first person. You work in groups of 3, basically. But I went into it single player because I wanted to see what it was like. And basically, you go onto this post-apocalyptic Earth. So basically, you drop down like in a drop pod, and then you go through this post-apocalyptic Earth, which is really it's in the dark, kind of an evening setting, and kind of looks like a winterish setting as well. But basically, this post-apocalyptic Earth is overrun by mutated dinosaurs. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to get to these bases to pick up supplies. And I have to say, when I started the game, you don't have much of a loadout. And I think because of the beta version, you don't have much yet. So this is not a finished version of the game. So basically all you have is a machine gun and a shotgun. That's your entire loadout. And you also have 5 grenades. Which you can restock if you can get to the supply depots. But once I got to the first supply depot and the first hangar, you just get completely overrun by these dinosaurs. And there's a couple there. They look like triceratopses, and they have like these armor-shelled platings. And the only way you can really kill them is to dump a grenade underneath it to blow up so you can... knock it on its side and then shoot it from the bottom. And it's almost impossible because you have all of these other dinosaurs just swarming all over you.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's fun. But like I said, it's only in beta format right now. It's in game preview. But yeah, it's on Game Pass. You can download it if you're a Game Pass subscriber. So that's one game I've been playing. And you'll like this one. I've been playing a little bit of some retro. I was playing Jetpack Refueled on Rare Replay. Yeah, it's very fun to play. I was playing a little bit of that. And also on the PS5, I've been playing Oddworld Soulstorm, still making my way through that. Yeah, so fun to play. It's getting a little easier now, but yeah. So that's what I've been playing. What about you, man?
Well, I've had a super busy week, so I've not played a great deal. I've been playing a bit of Adventure to Go when I can. I think last night I had a lengthy stream where I just played a bunch of Master System games. I did like a little jukebox thing where I showed off my collection of Master System games, and people could in the chat say what they wanted to see. So that was quite fun. But yeah, it's been a blooming busy week this week. So yeah. Trains and mass system this week. Been good.
All the trains, yeah.
Yeah.
G, do you like trains?
I've never actually been on one.
Really?
You've never been on a train before?
No, here in where I live in Missouri, there really isn't a whole lot of like train transports anywhere around me.
Wow.
Oh.
I live by train tracks, but they do like deliveries and stuff. So every now and then you'll hear like in the background of a stream or a YouTube video or whatever of my recording, you'll hear a choo, and I'm like, don't worry, that's just Thomas tank engine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Is that like an Amtrak? Not where you are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly close to where I am. We have like through my hometown, we have like at least 4 tracks of like constant like deliveries or just trains rolling through and stuff. And so like constantly, if you live on one side of town, if you're not fast enough, you could sit there and have to wait on a train to roll through before you can go home from work. And it is very, very frustrating.
Yeah. I see. Cool.
But I've always wanted
you should check out Dan's streams because he plays a lot of train simulator games and everything.
Yeah, no, don't. For the sake of your own mental health, don't.
Oh, come on, man, come on. All right.
That's interesting. Like, because when people say like I've never been to the beach or I've never seen the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Have you heard people say it and you go, wow, what's that like? It's like the same thing. Like, I've never been on a train. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a question. Where is Missouri and what is it like and why Missouri?
So Missouri is like dead center of the US, basically. I always say that I always tell people that Missouri is basically just like the physical form of misery because there's like nothing here. It's about like how you imagine Kansas would be. It's just fields and stuff, except Missouri's just a higher end bit of Kansas where it's like, it's boring, but it's got a few things here and there, just a few little sprinkles of, you can go down to like Lake of the Ozarks, which I guess is pretty cool if that's your thing, or you can go to museums and learn about Jesse James and things like that.
National Forest.
Yeah, it's like there's a few things, but overall, I wouldn't recommend taking a vacation here.
Oh, no, sounds ideal. I'm looking at a map now. Is Kansas City in Missouri?
It's like so Kansas City's kind of weird because it's like right on the edge of Missouri. So Kansas City is a part of Missouri and Kansas. Wow. You could be like driving from one block of Kansas City and then get to the end of the block and be in Kansas.
Wow, that's really interesting.
So, G, how far are you from St. Louis?
About 2.5 hours, I believe.
Okay, so it's not too far. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I'm closer to Kansas City than St. Louis.
I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's Anheuser-Busch. Yeah, that's a big corporation out there, the beer company. Yeah.
I wish I was closer to him. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Is it St. Louis or is it St. Louis?
I say St. Louis. I've heard some people say St. Louis, but it's very rare around here. Most people say St. Louis.
Okay, I can dig it.
What about Missouri or Missouri?
Oh, man. So, like, everybody here calls it Missouri, but whenever I first started talking to people online and everything, everyone referred to it as Missouri, and I was like, what's wrong with everybody? Why is everyone calling it Missouri? It's not even
weird.
spelled that way.
Yeah, because growing up in California, I mean, we always called it, Missouri, but they said that a lot of people in the South, they would say Missouri. So
yeah, one of my best friends that I actually met him through Halo, and every time he would describe me to like new people that we would game with, he'd be like, "Oh, it's G from Missouri," and I was like, "Why are you saying it like that, man?"
Yeah.
Great times.
Yeah. Okay, it's time to get to the weekly news beat. So the first story on the beat this week. So Sony, coming out with some numbers for the PS5. Sony has sold 7.8 million PS5 consoles, with 3.3 million moved from January to March. So this is a pretty interesting number because it's surpassed the number that were sold during the same amount of time during the PS4's initial launch. The PS4 sold 7.6 million. So, what do you guys think of this? I mean, it's really interesting that these numbers are so high, especially with people having such a hard time being able to pick up a PS5. What do you guys think? Dan, we'll start with you. What about you, man?
I think. Can you imagine what the number would have been if they'd actually had a decent supply chain going?
Yeah,
I mean, it probably would have broken 10.
Yeah,
people
probably.
are still going absolutely nuts for it. It's very impressive, and it makes sense. Obviously the lockdown had a lot to do with it. People want to play games and stuff. It's very cool.
Yeah. G, what do you think of this number?
It's honestly kind of surprising with the fact that PS5s are so hard to get because of, like you said, the supply chain being so eerie. And I don't remember the PS4 being that hard to get. I got a PS4 very easily whenever it launched. I mean, I had one pre-ordered, but then I got another one for like the family at the time, and it wasn't very hard to get at all. Whereas the PS5, it's like if you see a PS5 on sale, you want to buy it as soon as possible because it's like you don't know when you're going to see another one.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy for me to like see. I kind of wondered if like the reason the sales are so much higher is because of scalpers trying to buy multiple if they're not being sold because so many people are trying to resell them and everything.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good point. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember that being a thing with the PS4 either, since the PS4 wasn't really that hard to get. I don't remember people buying like 10 PS4s to try and sell them on eBay the next day later. So I'm curious to see how many there wouldn't be a way to really keep track, but I was curious to see like the number and like the difference of people that actually are getting those because they're keeping them and how many of those are actually just being put on eBay the next day. Like, I thought that was really interesting to see how much it's actually kind of outselling the PS4.
Yeah, and one other number we should look at here is the PS4 is still selling, and its system's life-to-date number is 115.9 million units.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's a lot of PS4s.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to catch up to PS2 numbers. The PS2 was like 150 million. But that's pretty impressive, 115 million. And then when the PS4 first came out, they didn't have the chip shortage issues as well that the PS5 has run into. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I talked about this a little bit on my the weekly news beat last night on Twitch, but I don't think the PS5 is going to be able to catch the PS4 in sales numbers at the end of its life cycle. I just don't think that the PS5 is going to last as long as the PS4 did. I mean, Dan and I have talked about this before, G, that, we're probably going to see a PS6 in the next probably 2 to 3 years, maybe. I mean, that's how quickly they want to bring out a new console, in a sense, either that or a PS5 Pro. So what do you guys think? I mean, does the PS5, in your opinion, have the possibility of surpassing the PS4 in numbers?
I don't think so necessarily, because like you said, they try so hard now to push out new like consoles or new variations of consoles. Like at most, I don't know about the next 3 years since it's kind of hard to get, but I could see it being a possibility. I can see them doing like a PS5 Pro within the near future once everything kind of settles down, and then like shortly after like a new PlayStation, whether it's like a PS6 or something, or if they decide to skip the numbers. I think like it would be cool, but I don't know. Like you said, it's kind of like I think they want to push out the newest stuff as much as possible anymore. I don't think they want to give like their consoles like the lifespan of like a PS2 anymore, because they're just all about, new, outperforming this thing.
Yeah. Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the PS5 life won't be any less than 5 years, because you can't get away with that. If they go in 2024, they're like, oh, okay, guys, here's the PS6. I mean, how many times can you get burnt like that? I mean, how's people can go, well, what's the point? If I'm going to spend $600, because obviously it's exponential, so the next console will cost more and more and more, for something that's going to last me 2 to 3 years, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's got to have at least 5 years. So it's got 5 years of sales records that are currently beating the PS4. So, I reckon it will outstrip it eventually at some point. But yeah.
Yeah, because Dan, I think the PS2 was 7 years, right?
That was a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, and
More
the
than.
PS3 was 7, I think, as well. And then PS4 now is 7. Yeah.
I get why, but yeah, you can't. Surely you can't do any less than like 5 for a lifespan of a console, because that's just nuts. Yeah. Unless there's something horribly wrong with it and it's not interesting to people, then fair enough. But if it's like selling hotcakes, you're like, hey, and like, don't forget, like it takes a long time to get under the hood of these machines properly. Mm-hmm. So again, like in 5 years, people are just about getting their stride of how to make these things and go, right, forget all that. Here's your dev. Well, actually, no, because if it has a 5-year lifespan, the last 2 years of that will be developing for the next bloody iteration.
Yeah.
So if there is going to be a 5 years from now a PS6, that means 3 years from now they'll start rolling out dev kits and production for this generation will wind down. So it's oh god, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, like for the PS4, I mean, it was only starting to hit its stride like in the fifth year or so.
It's nuts.
I mean, yeah, with the games that were coming out for it. So yeah,
there's so much life in the PS4. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. Like, yeah, back in the day, they got every last penny out of their machines. So now it's like, oh, well, you've done quite well on this. Let's get it out the door. Let's get a new one in. Yeah. And it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, the PS4 is actually still like a great console. Like the PS5 is amazing and everything. Like the no loading screens is great, but like PS4 was still good. Like I don't know if either of you played Ghost of Tsushima, but that game looks great even on PS4.
Even on stock PS4, that looks amazing. There's no reason for a PS5 to even exist other than to beat Microsoft, which is the only reason it does exist.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. Yeah, there's so much life in the PS4. It's mental. You can get another 5 years out of that. I'm not even joking. Easily.
I agree.
Yeah, like you said, Ghost is a really good example because it does look friggin' amazing. Yep. And we're only this far in. It's mental. It's a real shame, actually.
So which leads into our next story. So Sony is going to aggressively invest in first-party studios and third-party exclusives. So Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki explained that the company wants to enhance the exclusive offerings and will do so in 2 ways. We intend to continue investing in partnerships with external studios, in addition to aggressively investing in our own in-house studios, end quote. So Totoki pointed specifically to the company's partnership with Assassin's Creed creator Jade Raymond's new studio, Haven, which will create a new PlayStation IP as its first game. And also they're going to be pushing a lot of social aspects of gaming too. For example, more partnerships with, for example, Fortnite. So, I mean, they're going to be investing like 183 plus million this coming year on new exclusives. So, how do you feel about this strategy? G, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think?
It's like, I'm excited to get more new IPs. First of all, I'm always excited about new like series and everything. Yeah. I feel like Sony has like the bag whenever it comes to exclusives anyway, as is. So I feel like they're just going to push themselves further in the lead. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Halo and Gears. I mean, Gears is okay, but like those are like the only 2 like Xbox exclusives that I really have much interest in. So the fact that Sony's just like, yeah, we're going to double down and have even more exclusives. So I'm like, okay, this is why I bought a PS5 first. I get you.
Yeah. Dan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, as a strategy, it's pretty good, but it's all highly dependent on what those studios produce, I suppose. Yeah, it'll just come to a point where I don't know. Will there ever be a point where there are only exclusive studios? Like Microsoft just buys everyone they want, and Sony buys everyone they want, and there's no one in the middle just going, "Yeah, I'll make for both."
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, but yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of that could become a problem. But
I mean, it's a weird because it's I don't know. Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, I don't. There. Yeah, never mind.
One thing.
Yeah, and they're also. Oh, go ahead, G. Go ahead.
Sorry. One thing that I don't know if they're necessarily taking it into account, but one series that they tried to start up being an exclusive was Days Gone, and from what I've read, they weren't very pleased with the ways, like the sales of Days Gone.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if they actually try and bring new IPs, like how many of those are actually going to stick and how many of them are just going to be like, well, it didn't make that many day one sales, so we're not going to, make another one. I don't know if they necessarily plan on starting new series, like Last of Us type series or anything like that, but whenever I first read about that was kind of the first thing that popped into my head was like, well, are they going to try and go with all new content, or are they going to try and just buy out other companies, like you said, like how Microsoft bought like Bethesda or whatever? And I don't know. Like, I'm trying to be optimistic about it, but at the same time, I'm curious to see how well these games actually do and how much support they're actually going to get from the communities as well.
Yeah. Well, with Days Gone, there's a petition going out. It's up to almost 100,000 signatures now to propose the new game for or Days Gone 2. So they're really trying to push that through. Whether that'll work out or not, I don't know. But I mean, if what they did during the PS4 era with exclusives, if that continues on, they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's, I mean, they were so successful in the PS4 era with all of these exclusives. If they continue and just pump a lot of money into it, I think their success will continue. We shall see. But yeah. Which leads actually to our next story, which is about the state of play. Did you guys watch the state of play this last, what was it, Thursday, right? So it was Friday morning, my time here in Japan, but I think it was Dan for Thursday night, your time, right, in the UK.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, G for you, I think it was like about 5 in the afternoon, early evening, I think, on Thursday. But the state of play, we got about 15 new minutes of game footage of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. But we also saw...
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Well, in the beginning, we saw Subnautica Below Zero expansion, which is coming on May 14th. And then we also saw Among Us, which is supposedly going to be coming to console later this year. And then after that, we saw the 15 minutes of gameplay of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And they discussed a lot of the environments. They discussed for example, the haptic triggers that you're going to be using with the dual sense controller, the multi-dimensional shifts that are going to be prevalent throughout the game. So I don't know. I thought that this shouldn't have been like a state of play. I mean, just to show 15 minutes of gameplay of Ratchet and Clank, they could have maybe showed like 5 minutes and then another 10 or 15 minutes dedicated to other games that they're working on. I mean, before the event, it was being promoted as if they're going to show 2 new indie titles. But these indie titles were not really indie titles in a sense. I mean, Subnautica has been out for a while, and yeah, the expansion's coming. But and then Among Us, that's a PC game, and that's coming to console. Wow. So, I mean, I wasn't very impressed with this. What about you guys? What do you guys think? Dan, I'll start with you first on this one. What did you think?
Yeah, I watched a bit of you talking about it, and I watched a bit of Burley talking about it, and I was instantly bored. Yeah, this was a waste of friggin' data, wasn't it? It was a waste of YouTube space. Yeah, utterly underwhelming. Again, I don't know why this wasn't just a trailer uploaded to the internet. Just, hey, here's 15 minutes of Ratchet and Clank. What do you think? And then move on. But then, it's a bit, I don't know, maybe it's a bit concerning. They've got nothing really good to talk about. I mean, Ratchet and Clank isn't new. It's been around since the freaking PS2, and now you've just got a really pretty version of it. Yeah. So that's kind of like, this is not a good strategy.
And with that new character Rivet, I mean, it's like how much game time are you going to get with this new character? I mean, is this new female character gonna take over like most of the gameplay? And you're only going to have a little amount of gameplay with Ratchet and Clank. Who knows? I don't know.
Are they going to pull a Raiden on us? And yeah, stuck.
Yeah. G, what were your thoughts of the state of play?
Yeah, I was about the same. I was pretty disappointed. First off, like Among Us coming to console. I feel like Among Us is kind of dead news now. It hasn't really. It's fun. It's a fun game, but it's kind of like, well, it's been on the Switch for a while. It's been on PC for like forever now. So I was just kind of like, okay, it's coming to console. Yay. And Subnautica, I mean, that's cool for fans. I've never personally played the game, so it didn't really mean a whole lot to me. The Ratchet and Clank stuff, though, I liked the last game. So, I mean, I'm excited about it, but I don't see why they had to make like the whole like play stuff for it. It could have just been, like you said, a trailer. I feel like, I don't know if it would have anything to do with the pandemic, if they're just like, they don't have as much right now, if that's why they didn't choose to show more, or if they're purposely not showing because they're like trying to wait. I don't know what their deal was, but that really just felt like a underwhelming, like, just experience. I started to watch it and I got about 5 minutes into the gameplay and I was like, yeah, there isn't anything for me here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised also that they didn't show any of Returnal, because, Returnal was, being released the next day. So you would have thought that they would have, had somebody from Housemarque on there showing like a little bit of the gaming mechanics or something like that for a minute or two of the game, but nothing on Returnal, which was interesting.
I wonder how much faith. Yeah, I wonder how much faith Sony had in Returnal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, they promoted it quite well, and they've announced it as being a $70 or £70 game here in the UK. I'm not sure has it? I'm sure it's been quite successful. I imagine there's quite a few downloads of it because there's bugger all else to play on the PS5 right now. But you'd think they'd throw a bit more weight, like you said, because it came out this week and had that presentation. They could have gone, oh, by the way, don't forget Returnal's out. Check it out. Here's Housemarque talking about it. Yeah.
It's kind of, for at least over here, I don't know. I know you said that you've seen advertisements for it. I'm surprised, at least for me. I don't know, maybe I live under a rock or something, but I actually didn't see like hardly any advertisements for Returnal. I think I've seen one advertisement for it. And literally the only reason I even found out about Returnal is because a friend of mine was like, hey, you like roguelikes and Dead Space. Here's a game that you'll like. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll pre-order that. I looked into it. I was like, okay, I'll pre-order it. This looks right up my alley. But I don't actually know very many people that actually ended up getting it. So I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm like, did they really have faith in this game? Or they just kind of like, and we need something for the PS5. So, just make something.
Yeah. It's a bold move. Like, again, I think the pricing is going to be a big issue.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, isn't it, for a game?
Especially a game like that. It's not necessarily like, it does have a really good story, like not to go back to it necessarily, but it does have an interesting story. But I feel like a lot of people, at least I know a lot of people that I can vouch for, don't like roguelike games. They don't like the idea of whenever you die in a game, you start all the way over with none of your stuff from, your previous attempt. That's a big turnoff for a lot of people. So I feel like mixed with the price and, whether people knew about it, I feel like will kind of determine whether that game, that was a good game.
Yeah, it's being compared. I was going to say just one thing on social media. It was being compared to a AA indie title that was similar to. I don't know if you guys heard of a game called Recore that came out on Xbox in the early days of the Xbox One era. But I don't know. $70. Yeah, that's like Dan was saying. That's going to be a sticking point there, I think. But
and also, I think maybe the way they handle it. The way they handled the presentation of the game, maybe it is a bit weird, a bit obtuse, and that might be a bit of a turn off for people. I don't know. For me, it certainly piques my interest. But I got to say, going back to what we were saying, like roguelikes, I probably shouldn't, but I always think roguelikes as being lazy. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure there are loads of work, but I always think of it as just like a shortcut. Like rather than make a story that goes, or again, that goes from A to B to C to D, just have it go to A, then A.1, A.2, then juggle those units around. Like you just make these parts and the game will just make itself. I know I'm quite wrong, but I always view that. I'm in that camp. I always see roguelike as a bit of a turn off. I'm not going to lie, because I quite like the consistency and the skill that comes. Imagine Dark Souls as a roguelike. It would be impossible. It would be unplayable. Because without getting there and knowing, okay, this guy's going to kick my ass, I need to do this. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably a bad example, but I'm always a bit wary of roguelikes.
It's understandable, honestly. I don't think they're for everybody. I think I can kind of agree that they come off as kind of lazy. It also depends on which ones you play. Like personally, one of my favorites is Enter the Gungeon, which I thought was done really well. Because they actually have it set up. It's not necessarily like, oh, you die, you start over and just do that over and over. For it, it's like it has multiple endings. And for each attempt, you have to go through and do certain objectives to trigger certain endings. And if you don't do these things, then you just get a vanilla run. But I mean, it's still kind of the same formula. That's how I felt with the very first one that I ever played was The Binding of Isaac. And that was before all the expansions and everything. That was just plain Binding of Isaac. And I didn't realize that the concept of roguelike was like that until my second run, because I actually beat Binding of Isaac on my very first run by accident, basically.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, so I already beat the game. That was kind of weird. And then I went through it again and I died and it started me over. And I was like, where'd all my stuff go? It's an interesting taste. I kind of like playing them just to kind of kill time, especially if I'm bored and I don't have anything to do. That's where I think the main appeal is it's not like an RPG that you have to invest 10 hours into to get to the real juicy parts of the story or anything like that. It's just basically pure gameplay. If story isn't your main focus, you can just kind of close your brain and just kind of play the game type of thing. But I can definitely see why people don't like them. I definitely don't recommend Enter the Gungeon to everybody.
Awesome.
All right. Okay, so on to our next story now on the news beat. We're going to shift to Microsoft here now. So Microsoft's Game Pass is now up to 23 million subscribers. So that's up from 18 million in January. So that's a pretty big milestone, and it'll be interesting to see how this continues to grow. Of course, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast about how Game Pass is growing, and of course with Microsoft making the acquisitions that they have, gaining Bethesda Studios and all the games there and putting them into Game Pass. And we've talked about this. They're probably not finished yet. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens at E3 next month. So I don't know. PlayStation, they have their worries in a sense, and they're probably strategizing as to how they're going to have some kind of equivalent to Game Pass. But I mean, 23 million subscribers and growing. That's a pretty big number now, and it'll be interesting to see before the end of this year if the Game Pass subscriptions overtake PS Plus subscriptions, which is, I think, right now at about 47 million. So, what do you guys think of this, Dan? It's a pretty big number, man, so far.
Yeah, it is. And again, every time we talk about Game Pass, the only thing I think of now is that is 28 million people who will not be buying Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
That's every time someone goes Game Pass, and I go, well, brilliant, but that means they have lost 28 million sales of Halo Infinite. How are you going to recoup that? It's I don't know. I guess it. Well, it's probably there's enough people buying it now to it's profitable, but I don't know. It's certainly an impressive number, and like you say, yes, it's got another 20 million to go before it catches up with PS Plus, and I'm not even going to pretend that a Game Pass isn't the superior service when it absolutely is. I mean, I've not had PS Plus for 5 years now. It just isn't good value for money, and especially when they jack the prices up of it. It's now it was £50 a year for what is essentially a handful of games I've already got or have no interest in.
Yeah,
I'd happily spend £50 a year on Game Pass, and if I didn't have a frightening amount of games, I totally would.
So, and with the Game Pass Ultimate subscription, you get the crossover with PC as well as you get the xCloud service as well. So
but again, I mean, they're kind of gimmicks, aren't they? I mean, why would, unless you're a PC gamer and you haven't got an Xbox, so you get that so you can play the Xbox games on your PC exclusively. That makes sense. But if you're an Xbox, well, maybe get the fidelity. I suppose
pretty much everywhere you go, you can play it on your PC as well. So with xCloud, so
no, it's very cool.
G, what do you think of this number? Pretty impressive.
Yeah, like you said, it is definitely superior compared to anything that Sony's got. Frankly, they have what does Sony have? That PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Now.
That's pretty much nothing compared to Game Pass. Honestly, I'm sorry. I've tried using PlayStation Now, and I personally hated it. It trying to stream the game. I tried to stream a PS3 game to the PS4. I was trying to play the first God of War on that. Not a good experience. That just made me hate God of War. It was the delay and everything. It just didn't work out. Because I have a Series S, but I didn't really want to dedicate to buying a game for it necessarily, because I was like, well, I know I'm going to get most of my games on PlayStation 5, so I'll just get Game Pass. And Game Pass is amazing. I love it. It's I don't have to dedicate. But like you said, I'm kind of concerned about the whole sales for Halo Infinite. I'm curious because I don't actually know how they make revenue, how the developers make revenue from the Game Pass. I don't know if it goes based on how many people download it from Game Pass or anything like that.
I imagine it'd be both. Yeah, you're probably exactly right. So they'll have a lump sum, and there'll be a commission-based thing. So we'll give you this, and then for everyone downloads, we'll give you an extra $1 or something, maybe. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, because that was kind of, whenever I read that number, I was kind of like, how many people are actually going to purchase? Because I know that was a thing with Outriders as well. People were saying about how well that game did, but I was like, how many people actually purchased Outriders, though? Most of the people that I see playing it are playing it on Xbox, and they're playing it because it's on Game Pass.
That's me.
Yeah.
Yep. Not paying for that.
I tried it.
But again, being that crotchety old git that I am, I kind of think that in 10 years' time, when they, turn the servers off for the Xbox Series, whatever it is now, you're going to have a big black box you can't do anything with.
Yeah.
Whereas if you bought your disc of Halo Infinite, you'd be able to play it again ad infinitum. I don't know.
Well, with cross-compatibility that Microsoft has been working with Xbox, I mean, it's miles ahead of what PlayStation's doing right now when it comes to cross-compatibility and, with past generations. That might not be so much of an issue. We'll see, but yeah. I mean, because Halo Infinite, you're going to be able to play on Xbox One as well.
Yeah.
So not only Xbox Series S or Series X, you'll be able to play it on Xbox One.
Cool. Imagine that's going to look like. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I think it's damn cool. I wonder if I don't know what could Sony. I mean, if they gave PlayStation Now as part of PlayStation Plus, would that be a move in the right direction? Because it's only it's 10 quid a month currently because they've dropped the price of it because no one's buying it. Yeah. And if they just absorbed it into the cost of PlayStation Plus for a year, so PlayStation Plus pays 50 quid, you got your online play, you got 3 free games a month, and you got access to all of PlayStation Now. Would that make a dent in Game Pass? Would you say?
It'll be interesting to see because, I mean, there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of talk and speculation that Microsoft is going to do away with Xbox Live Gold. And then
that needs to go. The fact we're still charging for bloody online multiplayer is pathetic. Like, what the frig?
Now they have gone away with that. Basically, you can play free multiplayer online now.
Yeah, everything should be. I mean, PlayStation needs to get on that yesterday. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they did away with gold and just, put those gold subscribers onto Game Pass, just think of if on the PlayStation side, they got rid of PS Plus and moved those subscribers over to PlayStation Now and changed PlayStation Now and reorganized it and made it like Game Pass.
Yeah.
And all of the first party exclusives, like we've been talking about, like with Returnal and everything, goes to PlayStation Now day one.
You see, now I don't know if they'd be up for that.
Yeah,
they've got Sony. They've got they don't need to. They've got the sheer console numbers. They don't have to worry about it because then people are going to buy the games anyway. Yeah. Whereas Xbox doesn't have that, which is why this is a move by a semi, I don't want to say desperation, but it's a bit of a Hail Mary thing from Xbox to get people to buy their stuff, which Sony doesn't really need because Sony's got the name brand. Sony's already got people clamoring for software anyway. Yeah. They don't have to worry about offering their top titles for free.
Well, maybe they would like say a game like Returnal, for example.
Yeah.
They put Returnal day one onto their PlayStation Now service, but games like Horizon, God of War, the big ones, those will still be first day. You got to pay $70 for it. But I don't know. So,
Sadboy, you were going to say something before you got cut off.
I was just agreeing with what you were saying. It's Game Pass definitely and I think the way that Microsoft handles the Xbox and how it works, I kind of look at Xbox as like a dumbed down PC, kind of the way they kind of run it, going back to like what you were saying about like in a few years from now we won't be able to play these. I feel like if they keep with the format that they're going, we're going to be able to keep playing like some of our older games, whereas PlayStation, since they're for some reason being stingy about the backwards compatibility and stuff like that. Weird. I feel like that's like what's holding them back. I mean, their console numbers are definitely way up there. Like I know some GameStops around here still have Xbox Series S's and X's that nobody wants to buy for some reason. Like they're just sitting there at the store and like nobody wants to buy them. But as soon as the PS5 comes around, everyone's like fighting for them and everything. So. But the Game Pass, I feel, is like their one upper hand on Sony. And I feel like if they stick down the path that they're going, they can maybe kind of even it out where they're kind of not so far down. Because right now it's kind of like Sony's way up here and Xbox is like kind of down here right now at the moment.
Yeah, with all these acquisitions that are coming down the pipeline, I have a feeling we're going to hear some more about acquisitions come E3. And with more of these acquisitions, you're going to be seeing more and more games going to Game Pass day one. I mean, like Starfield, for example. There's a lot of speculation now that Starfield's going to be coming out this fall, around November. And that would be pretty big. Just imagine if Starfield and Halo, boom, come together onto Game Pass day one. So we'll see. But yeah. Okay, so... Yep. Moving on. So it's time for our Japan focus. So, Dan, you know about Pokemon Go.
Yeah. Is that still a thing? That was years ago. That was 5 years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2016 that came out. Yeah.
5 years now. Of course, Pokemon is going on to its 25th year. You know, and Pokemon Go came out 5 years ago. And I think when you were here, I mean, we used to go, like when we were going to Akiba, we'd see millions of people just playing Pokemon Go out there near Yodobashi Akiba. And, even out here where I live, I mean, just a couple of years ago, people were out with their cell phones and their iPads and whatever, and playing Pokemon Go. So this week, the annual Pokemon Go Fest was announced. It's scheduled for July 17th and 18th. And last year's was online due to the COVID pandemic, of course. But it looks like this year as well is going to be virtual. So the developer Niantic described the event as a global event. So, but they didn't show or share many details about it. But it's a world phenomenon that's been going on. And there's still people that play it, and it'll be interesting to see how many people get together for this fest coming in July. So I don't know, G, have you ever been into Pokemon or into Pokemon Go?
I grew up on Pokemon, honestly. I love Pokemon. I don't play Pokemon Go, though. It wasn't ever really my thing. I like the concept of going out and looking for Pokemon. I thought it was always a cool idea, but I honestly didn't realize people still played it, honestly, until I seen that they announced that. I was like, wait, people are still playing Pokemon Go? I thought we were done with that.
Yeah, I think it was scaled back a lot because of the COVID pandemic, but now that it's starting to wind down in certain parts of the world, you're going to see more and more people going out and playing it again, I think. But
probably.
Yeah. So the Pokemon Go Fest. And one other story I want to talk about, Ni no Kuni 2 supposedly is now coming to the Nintendo Switch. So, Ni no Kuni 2 was originally released for PC and PS4 back in 2018. But the series has a history of taking its time for the Switch. The first Ni no Kuni came out in 2011, Dan, if you remember that one.
I do. It's a good game.
Yep. And the original version was brought to the Switch in 2019. So it took a long time to get there. But supposedly from the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, the ESRB, they had a little online writing about Ni no Kuni 2. So it's going to be coming to the Switch probably sometime later this year. So, that's another part of the Japan news beat. So, Pokemon and Ni no Kuni. So two very popular, Ni no Kuni 2, very popular games out here in Japan and in the West. All right. So it's time now for our topic of the show. So today's topic is backlogs. So G, how much of a gaming backlog do you have?
Oh boy, here we go. So on the PS4 alone, I actually do try and keep track of my backlog the best I can. Digitally on PS or PlayStation, I own about 450 games, and I'd say I've only beaten about 100 of them roughly. So that's got a big backlog there. And then my Steam library probably has about 100 games that I still have to beat. And then, everything on my Xbox. I'm one of those people that I'm like, oh, this game's on sale and it's like 50% off. I don't know when I'll see it this cheap again. Gotta buy it. And then the backlog gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Dan, how big's your backlog right now?
I've lost track of it. I don't even know anymore. Similar sort of thing. And but I've become a lot less forgiving about games. Like, I think we talked this in the past, maybe, about how I used to just sit and play a game, no matter how much I was hating it. I'd sit there and play it till the end. Yeah. And so a good way of getting through my backlog now is just to go, this game isn't that great. I'm going to move on. Yeah. So, so I mean, playing my backlog, I've probably played quite a lot of it now. I'm probably actually, getting caught up. But actually spending the time and finishing it and actually, really getting into these games is, not so much, not by a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you on how I chip away with my existing backlog in a sense. I mean, I play a game, and if I don't like it, I'll just go to the next game. If I'm interested in the game, then I'll continue it to the end. But there's some games out there that is just, I play like 3, 4, 5 hours and I'm like, I'm not getting it.
The same for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I started playing Metro Exodus the other week, and it's pretty good. And I think there was a time when I would have sat down and finished it, but now I'm just kind of like I'm just not getting what I want from this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like well, I'm sure one day I might come back to it, but yeah.
And then I have to admit that the reason I have such a huge backlog is because I was in that rut of just buying games at full price day one. Buy. Those days are over. Those days are over now, but yeah, they are. I mean, Dan, he's been a huge influence on me when it comes to not buying games day one.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that one. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's just, for the longest time, I was in this rut of just buying games. And it's like, I'm going to get to them. And then the next big game comes out and I start playing that. And then the next big game comes out and I start playing that one. And then it accumulates. And there's just, the PS4, I probably got like hundreds of games in the backlog. A lot of these indie titles that came out during the PS4 generation. Same with like Xbox One. And now we're in the PS5 and the Xbox Series generation. And, I've just gotten to the point now where to chip away, just play a little bit of it. If I like it, I continue it. But if I don't, it's gone. And then just move on to the next one. And then a game like Returnal, it's $70. No, thank you. I will wait for 3, 4, 5 months, wait till it drops to $25, $30, and then I'll get it on sale. Yeah. So that's kind of my situation with backlogs. But my question to you guys too is, what are some games that could be a backlog nightmare? For me, I think of like, for example, some service type of games like Outriders, for example. There's a lot of people that'll just keep on playing Outriders, and then all these new games start coming up, but they continue with Outriders. Like Genshin Impact, for example, which has is one of the games that has come out recently that is a service game that a lot of people are hooked on. So, what kind of games could you describe as being a nightmare to your backlog situation? G, how about you?
Definitely games like Outriders. Those, I know I'm not so much a fan of it anymore, but part of the reason my backlog ended up getting so big was because Destiny released. And it was like, oh, I have, 30 games over here that I still need to beat. But I need to try and get this on Destiny. I need to do all these dailies. I need to do quests here, blah, blah, blah. Those type of games can definitely get you. And if your backlog is anything like mine, I think JRPGs, even though I love JRPGs, a lot of them take like 100+ hours.
Yeah.
And those
I saw you on Twitch. Yeah, I saw you on Twitch playing Persona 5. Yeah, that's like a 200+ game right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still playing it.
Yeah,
I'm getting close, but it's like, man, I'm getting to a point with it too where I'm like starting to get burnt out. So I'm trying not to, because I want to finish it. I love the game. So I'm playing it just less frequently, but because of it being so long and playing it less frequently, it's like, it feels like it's taking that much longer. But I'm like almost there at the end. I'm dedicating to finishing it. But yeah, games like Destiny or JRPGs that require like 100+ hours can definitely add on.
Yeah. Dan, how about you? Which games are a nightmare to your backlog situation?
Red Dead Redemption 2. Because that game is friggin' long. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. So, for example, I don't know. Maybe genre takes a part in it. So maybe you play a lot of first-person shooters, and you realize your backlog is another 10 first-person shooters, and you're kind of like, I'm kind of done with first-person shooters. So you put them on the backlog.
Yeah.
And you play something else, maybe to break up your streak of what you're playing. Yeah. But obviously, I think that's service game stuff. Or maybe games just really love. Maybe you find a game that you just really you want to play it again and again. You play it for a long time, and you want to replay it. Maybe New Game Plus. Yeah. That's something. Anything that extends the life of a game is hazardous to your backlog, I suppose.
Yeah. As for me, recently, of course, as you know, Dan, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah,
playing that game. 100. Yeah, it's too long. I mean, 100 plus hours just to finish the main story, basically. I mean, and then, now there's all the DLC that's going to be coming out. And so I'll probably at some point get hooked back into that again. So that'll be a nightmare to my backlog.
Jesus.
Those games too, like, I feel like, and I've complained about this and I've made my opinion very like known amongst my friends. I'm tired of like open world games like that. Like I like them. I mean, they're cool, but games like Assassin's Creed, like I used to be a big Assassin's Creed fan. I loved Assassin's Creed Origins, but after playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I just consider myself a casual fan now because I feel like they're going in a cool direction going into the RPG thing, but most open world games, and I feel like Odyssey was guilty of it, it felt like it's just a big open map for like no reason. I feel like these open world games can definitely affect your backlog as well, because if you're like me and you like to be a completionist, it's like, oh, I want to get everything on the map, but everything on the map is like below average like content. It's not even worth like playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, being like a mail messenger or something. Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
just for endless fetch quests and checkbox filling.
Yeah, I think that's when it comes to Halo Infinite, that's going to be coming later this year. That's what a lot of people are concerned about. That the open world, the open world aspect of it all, and how long it's going to take. Those completionists out there.
It's gonna be like, hey, Master Chief, go over there and shoot those grunts, and then come back. Great, you did that. Now go over there and kill these elites and then come back. Great. Go over there and activate this beacon. Great. I mean, how much variety can you have in an open world first person shooter? That's going to be very, very interesting. And I agree with like SadBoyGee about how the whole freaking, they've become stale.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is amazing, but it's still fundamentally, it has that formula of an open world game. And there are times where I've kind of gone, oh, really? Oh, really? I'm just doing this for the sake of this.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I mean, maybe the whole thing needs an overhaul. Maybe they're played out from it, and maybe we should all take a break from open worlds and focus on other genres and other things to do.
I wish that we had more like well-designed levels than the whole open world thing. I miss games like, I don't know if you guys have ever really played it, but like Dead Space, the first two Dead Space games I felt had like amazing. Perfect levels.
It's perfect.
And the designs were great. And it's like, that's what I want. I want like well-designed levels that are like fun and actually make me want to replay it. Yeah. These open world games, I feel like they don't have any replay value because it's like, do I really want to go and walk from point A to point B for like the next 10 minutes again? I don't really think so.
And they kind of like they lose a lot of narrative focus as well, because that the freedom of it means you can go anywhere, do anything, which means you don't have the same narrative you get from a laser focused. You go to A to B to C sort of thing. I mean, like the story in Dead Space is phenomenal because for that very reason, you are led by the hand through the story, and you get the most from it. Like one of the things I dislike about Breath of the Wild, the open world Zelda game, is that it lacks the story's crap. I'll invite anyone to fight me on this. I think the whole thing's that's probably one of the worst Zelda games. I think Breath of the Wild is massively, massively overrated. And I think that's one of the reasons why. Like if you think about like Ocarina, that was semi-open world by today's standards, but again, that sort of was laser focused.
Yeah,
that's what made The Witcher 3 so great. It was massive open world, but the story and the narrative was so great wherever you went in the game.
But it had like little pockets. So you went to our village and that had its own massive story arc. It had its own like 40-hour story arc in that village. You go to the next village, and then they all incorporate into the giant, colossal 200-hour overstory. Yeah, so that works. But Witcher is definitely an exception in the open world thing, and not bad for a game that's now 8-9 years old. When was Witcher 3 out? It's nuts.
Witcher 3, I think, was 2014, 15, somewhere in there. Yeah,
it's a six-year-old game.
Yeah,
and we haven't even come close to matching it. Definitely not Cyberpunk.
Definitely not Cyberpunk. So I haven't finished Ghost of Tsushima, but I mean, it's okay for its open worldish type world,
Yeah.
but I don't think we've really had a game come close to doing as well as Witcher 3 since then, honestly.
Probably
And
never
I'll
will.
stick to that.
Yeah.
Probably not, because the way the developers treat it now with the whole open world, I feel like they feel like open world just means it's going to be like that's better. And it's like most of the time it's not. A lot of times it just leaves for like Assassin's Creed's always been kind of open world, right? But they focus just on the story. But now it's going with the whole RPG like focus. So they're trying to put in like side quests and side activities, and like all the side quests, there might be like one or two good ones, but a majority of them just kind of suck. And then the side activities are basically like, oh, there's a camp over here with like 4 enemies. Go kill it, or go over here and kill these like hyenas over here. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I want like content. This isn't content I want to pay like $60 for.
Right. And those side quests have nothing to do with the main story whatsoever, usually. So.
Yeah, they have like no interesting key element to the story, and their story themselves a lot of times don't even have a story. It's just kind of like, could you kill these things over here for me? And it's like, okay, I guess.
He killed my mum, go kill him.
Yeah.
Okay. Sucks for you.
Yeah.
I always think, for me, the whole open world thing, they always, the first thing they mention is how big the map is. And that should be the biggest red flag you ever hear.
Yeah.
For me, whenever they go, oh, our map is 28 square miles, and you're like, oh shit, if that's all you've got to advertise, not what happens in it, not the events, not the characters, not the writing, but no, we've got a massive map with bugger all in it. It's like, oh my god.
That's like Far Cry games. I don't know if you guys play any Far Cry games, but they're so big, and then you get into it, and it's like, so what do I do here? You can shoot random enemies that spawn, and I'm like, okay, what else? Oh, nothing aside from that.
And that's another game that really suffers from go here, shoot that. Or go here, climb that tower. I mean, that famously they got slated for. I mean, that's the whole Ubisoft formula, isn't it? It's go find a tower, climb up it, and then shoot some people on the map. It's it became so formulaic.
Yeah.
I hope they've broken away from that, because even up to five less so, it didn't have quite the same generic, lockstep formula that 3 and 4 kind of had. I mean, 3 perfected the things. 3 is a really good one. 4 was a bit meh. But I think people have got wise to the whole formula. So hopefully 6. Wait, where are we now? Yeah, Far Cry 6.
Yeah,
will be a bit different.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's time for Dan's retro topic of the week. So every week, Dan comes to us and provides us a retro topic from the world of retro gaming. So Dan, what do you got for us this week, man?
Almost every week. Sometimes I can't be asked and I forget. But this week I remembered. So
good.
No worries. I will still talk about Densha to Go at some point. But again, no, it's a quick one this week. So basically, when I was in Japan, a couple of games from my collection went missing. Wink, wink. Which means my brother stole them and put them on eBay. Almost certainly, because games don't exist. I go to Japan with this.
Not on the Super Potato. Right?
Yeah, we'll come back to that another week. So I'm still pissed off about that. So I go to Japan having this many games, and I come back and I have a couple fewer games. And these fewer games are, pardon my French, fucking expensive. If I want to replace these games from my collection, it's going to cost me a nutty amount I'm not prepared to spend. I managed to get one replaced fairly cheaply, because the cartridge isn't that great, Nick, but I can still play the game. But one of my games, my game Bucky O'Hare on the NES, disappeared, wink, wink. And to get a replacement copy, it's like £85 to £100 for a replacement copy.
God.
Which I'm not going to spend. Because I love the game. I'm not spending that money on any game ever. So, which led me down. So I could emulate it, and I have done. I've got it on my Pi. I've got it on every system I can run it on. That's great. I have it on. I could have it on an EverDrive, so I can get an EverDrive for the NES and have that in every other game running on original hardware. Or what I am tempted by is a reproduction cart. So there's a pretty big market, mostly from China, wink, wink, wherein they will just make cartridges. If you go to AliExpress or any other Chinese online portal, you can get a copy of original games. So you could get Bucky O'Hare on the NES. It looks the same. It's a NES cartridge. It's great. It's got the sticker, a realistic looking sticker. I mean, they are externally pretty convincing. You might not know it was a fake, and we'll come to that later. So you could go right now to AliExpress, and you could go, okay, well, I haven't got Bucky O'Hare. I could pay 85 quid, or I can get it for 10. I can get a reproduction cartridge for 10. And basically, all it is, it's a knockoff PCB with the ROM on an EEPROM inside it, and maybe a lockout chip, and then it runs. So you can play that original game, well, not that repro game, on original hardware at a fraction of the cost. And you see, this is really appealing because you think of things like Chrono Trigger on the SNES, which is now phenomenally expensive, or any of these games that are massively appealing to the retro market. You can get them all for a tenth of the price now, which is awesome. But there are caveats. So these reproduction cartridges don't always have the highest production standards. There are issues with electrical draw from your machine. So sometimes they overdraw power through the card slot because they need it to power the card. It's not as well designed and not designed with the original spec. So they can draw more power into your machine through the card slot, which is both harmful for your SNES, is having to draw, or your NES or whatever machine you got. It's having to draw more power, and also bad for the cartridge because the cartridge doesn't need that much power. So there are issues like that. But fundamentally, it's an amazing thing. The trouble is, they are pretty damn convincing, which means now you have people selling reproductions but labeling them as authentic. So there are people buying on eBay. There's actually quite a few Reddit threads about this. People buy a cartridge and say, "Is this legit?" And you can't tell until you get it apart. And then once you take it apart, you can see that the PCB is different. But people are buying and selling knockoff reproduction cartridges on eBay, and also there are giveaways, external giveaways, particularly on like Game Boy Advance or maybe some NES games you can spot. And I've seen reproduction cartridges in second-hand shops in physical stores in Cambridge, where I live. There's a shop called CEX, and I know for a fact they've bought reproductions off people and resold them. So yeah, but if, like me, you are missing a game from your collection and you don't want to pay nutty money, and you don't want to have just an EverDrive or a flash cart solution, and you want the original game on your shelf, it's great. Obviously, as a collector, it's valueless, it's meaningless. But if you want to play, if you want to have the original experience of getting your cart off the shelf, putting it in a machine and firing up, that is your best bet. And if you're really anal, you can pay to have reproduction boxes made as well. So I think you could get a reproduction cart in a reproduction box for probably about £20. That's probably $30. I don't know how it works anymore. Yeah, the only thing you can't really get is manuals. Manuals is a bit of a weird one. And yeah. And of course, one more thing finally. There are companies who do official reproductions. So there are people who get the licenses for these games and make reproduction cartridges to a much higher standard. Obviously, they're play tested and then they are to a much higher build quality, and they come with a box and a reproduction manual. So yeah, I think like limited run games do stuff like that, and a few other companies will offer you a repro, but yeah, of a high standard with box with manual. So yeah, so I'll let you know when I get mine. I'll let you know what it's like, see if it blows up my NES or not. But yeah, no, repros are a viable alternative if you want that original nostalgic console experience.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. G, are you into retro?
I do like retro. I don't have the collection or the systems to play like on the original stuff. I wish I could get into it, but then I constantly look at like, oh, I remember this one game that I played growing up. I wonder how much it is. Wow, $150. Okay, I'll look on GOG or an emulator.
Exactly that. Emulate that shit. Yeah, it's I've mentioned it so many times. Retro collecting now is such a miserable experience.
Yeah,
it isn't for everyone. I mean, we keep talking. I work at the Centre for Computing History in Cambridge. We do a lot we get in old games and we preserve them, and like we're always talking about this. How like I remember like 10, 15 years ago, they were giving this stuff away. like literally pennies. Like, we don't want it, just take it. You want to buy one NES cart? Here, have 5. Just get them out of here.
Yeah.
And now it's just bonkers.
It's crazy to me to think, because like one of the games that I recently looked up was the first Spider-Man game on the PS1.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, I love that game and I want to get it. And I was like, man, I remember whenever I bought that game, originally I bought it at a pawn shop for literally $1. And I was like proud of myself. And then I looked it up the other day, and it's like $50+ and I'm like, I don't even have a PS1. I don't want to pay that much money for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've got a PC, download a program called DuckStation. DuckStation. That's a really good PS emulator, and you can play it in 4K for free.
Yeah, see, that's definitely the better route, and I want to play that game because I never got to finish it.
Yeah, it's a banger of a game. I guess it's because of the whole, it's a damn good game, which drives the price up. Also, it's Neversoft, so it's got the whole Tony Hawk connection, which also drags the prices up of things because it's made by the same guys who made Tony Hawk.
Yeah. So, I remember that little logo where they had like the eyeball bouncing around and then the spike.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. All right, Dan, thank you so much for the retro topic this week.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah. So let's move on to the new and upcoming video game releases for the week of May 3rd through the 9th via Metacritic. And just one point I want to make. Returnal is being scored at 86 at the moment on Metacritic. And Judgment, that we talked about last week, that was remastered for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. The Xbox Series X version is at 86. Yeah.
Oh, can I have a quick question? Is there a free upgrade for existing PS4 owners?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, nice one.
If you had the PS4 version, I think you get a free upgrade.
Okay, cool.
PS5, yeah. Okay, so there are 5 games on the list this week. So the first game comes out May 4th for PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, called The Colonists. I don't know if you've heard of this game before. No. The Colonists. So you take control of a team of self-replicating robots built to simulate human civilization. After escaping Earth, the colonists are now free to roam the galaxy in search of a new home and construct their dream settlement. So it's a real-time strategy command game. Comes out on May 4th. And also for PC, Switch, and Xbox One. Right. So, yeah, I've never heard of this one before. Have you guys? The Colonists.
No.
I don't think I've heard of that one. Is it an indie title?
Right Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah. But PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. So, yeah. So we shall see. Next up on the list.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's got a very interesting art style, actually. Now, I was kind of like turned off by the whole, RTS kind of whatever it is. But actually, I like the art style very much. It's quite a cute. It's got that whole. It looks, like it has that procedurally generated art style that's favored by lots of procedurally generated games. It looks interesting.
Yeah, cute robots and stuff.
Yeah. So the robot's just building a colony for its human masters. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh no! And you were to become human. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
And you were talking about this game earlier, Dan. The next game on the list, Metro Exodus, enhanced edition for PC, coming out on May 6th for PC. Yeah,
it's a good game. Yeah.
Yes. So for PC players, we're taking advantage of, or they're taking advantage of a new fully ray traced Lightning pipeline and the latest GPU capable hardware from NVIDIA and AMD to offer the ultimate ray traced experience. The Metro Exodus PC Enhanced Edition. This upgrade is very extensive. Yeah. Let me go ahead and read on here. It will require a ray tracing capable GPU as the minimum spec, and you will need to deliver. This version will need to be delivered as a separate product. So it is not a simple patch to the base game.
That's why you got to buy it again. Nice one.
Yeah. Instead, it will be offered as an extra entitlement to all existing Metro Exodus PC players. Yeah. So, G, have you played Metro Exodus yet?
I've played a bit of it. I thought it was a really good game. I need to go back and finish it. I also need to finish Last Light, but Exodus was really good. I felt like it was a big step up from the last one.
Next up on the list, Skate City. Comes out on May 6th for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Skate City. So Skate City captures the heart and soul of street skating in an authentic light. Players will have the opportunity to explore 3 unique cities based off of real-world skate locations, including the streets of Los Angeles, Oslo, and Barcelona. So, yeah. So skateboarding sim, looks like. Yeah. All right. Next up on the list, and this one looks kind of reminds me of the game called Thief. That you remember Thief that came out like the beginning of the PS4 era? Hood, Outlaws and Legends for PS5, Xbox One, PS4, Xbox Series X, and PC on May 7th. So, in a violent medieval world, outplay rival gangs in intense PvPvE multiplayer heists, moving in stealth to steal treasures unseen or dominating through loud and brutal combat. Only the best will escape with hard-earned riches. So, action-adventure. This comes out on May 7th. Yeah. So, yeah, this had like Thief vibes to it, looked like. So, yeah. And then the big one, the last one on the list this week, Resident Evil Village comes out on May 7th for PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Google Stadia of all things. Yeah. Google Stadia still exists.
I forgot it existed.
Yeah. The next generation of survival horror rises in the form of Resident Evil Village, the 8th major entry in the Resident Evil series. With ultra-realistic graphics powered by the RE engine, fight for survival as danger lurks around every corner. Years after the tragic events of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Ethan Winters has started over with his wife, Mia, finally living in peace and putting the past behind them. However, Chris Redfield, the legendary hero from previous Resident Evil games, suddenly disrupts their life, throwing a devastated Ethan into a new and twisted nightmare in search of answers. So it comes out, on May 8th. So are you guys excited for this one?
I'm definitely excited.
Yeah.
I grew up on Resident Evil as well, so anytime there's a Resident Evil game, I get excited. Even for the bad ones, like Raccoon City. I was, or not Raccoon City, Operation Raccoon City or whatever that one was. So I'm excited.
Dan, you excited?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll be getting it. Absolutely. If I ever get a PS5, which becomes, less interesting prospect as the days tick on, I'll probably get it for that. I absolutely. Yeah, very much. Mind you, we'll have one. I don't want to start playing on a PS4 and move over to the PS5 when it comes up. So, but yeah, no, absolutely. I'm very interested. And the links, the thematic links, and maybe literal links to Resi 4 is very appealing because there are little Easter eggs in the demo. So hopefully that will carry over into the main game and there'll be a bit more, stuff going on there. But very much so. Looks good.
Yeah, great. I'm excited for it too, but I mean, at full price, I'm not going to buy it. Right away.
It's not an option.
I'm probably going to wait. Although, I think the ideal time to buy it would be Halloween.
Yeah,
I mean, I got to say though, it is cheap. In the UK, it's not massive. I think hang on, I'll tell you right now what it is on Amazon, but it isn't £70. It isn't £60. It's like 45. I don't know why. Yeah, I'll just confirm that. But it's as AAA, release. So the special edition is 60 quid. The standard one just 45.
Wow,
that's interesting.
So the whole bullshit thing. Games have to cost $70 now, which again I've said before is complete bullshit. It's not a thing. And like Resident Evil 8 has proven it because they're selling it for a lot less.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, there's like another game for PS5 that's going to be coming out in a few months called Kena, and that game is going to only be like $35.
Yeah, well,
but they're promoting it as if it's like a AAA game.
I've always said that having a universal price point is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think games should be priced as to what they are, their development, what what you get out of it. So I've always thought the idea of all games being a flat £50 or whatever has been really, really weird. So the idea of a game going, this is what it is, it's this much money, play it, is very, very cool indeed. Yeah.
I always appreciate whenever they're realistic with the price. I remember I managed to avoid a bullet. I didn't end up buying Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes whenever it first came out. It was a full like $60 for that game. And I thought, no, I'm not going to get that. And I'm glad I didn't, because the game lasts like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then again, too, this could be a regional pricing point, Dan, because I think in the US the standard version is still $59.99.
Right,
it is.
And then
wait, of what?
The special edition of Resident Evil Village.
Wow, because I'm looking at it right now. I can get it for 45 quid on 2 different game shops right now. Oh no, sorry, 47.95. One of them is.
That's
that
awesome.
That is bonkers.
Yeah,
lucky man.
Yeah,
that's crackers. Well, let me know. Give me the cash. I'll send you a copy.
There you go.
There's no shortage of them either. £46.85, whereas Returnal is 70 odd quid.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'll wait until Halloween, and then I'll get back to you then, and then I'll get it even cheaper from the UK version. Yeah.
Jesus, £63 for Returnal. I mean, it's effed. It's completely effed.
Yeah.
It'll calm down once the PS5's got a bit of a software library. People will be like, "Oh shit, we can't charge 70 quid for a game anymore because there are too many to buy."
Yeah.
If Returnal came out 3 years from now, there's no friggin' way that would have been 70 quid.
Yeah,
forget about it. Not a chance. It's because there's nothing to play on the PS5 yet.
Yeah, they knew that people would buy it, just trying to get their money's worth on their PS5. They're I need a game, and it's like there isn't anything on there though.
Yeah.
Oh, one more
FOMO.
quick. Sorry, go on.
FOMO, definitely FOMO.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think a lot of people buy these games day one is that, especially live streamers. G, you could probably, attest to this. There's a lot of people out there, they have the fear of missing out, and they got to get it day one because they got to stream it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm actually completely against that mindset. I always tell people, I mean, I know I made an exception today just because I was actually excited for Returnal, but normally whenever a game comes out, I refuse to stream it day one because there's so many people that's already doing it. It's kind of like, what's the point if I can literally go on all of my followers list and click on everybody's stream and see the exact same thing.
Yeah. Like on Twitter, I was having a conversation with one of friends of the show, Missing No, and she was, talking about the FOMO, the FOMO point of view of, there's a lot of people out there that are addicted to buying games day one because they have that fear of missing out with, streaming and, getting a lot of new views, and just people missing out with the others that are going to be buying it as well on day one. So,
yeah.
So, shout out to at Missing No. That was a really good point as we were talking about the $70 game point issue. So, okay, so what do you guys think? The Colonists, Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition, Skate City, Hood, Outlaws and Legends, Resident Evil Village. What's your pick for the week? For me, it would be, of course, I'm not going to buy it yet, but it would be Resident Evil Village.
Of course.
Dan, yours too?
Yeah, of course.
G, yours too?
Yeah, definitely mine.
Yep. Okay, so next up, I want to move on. So it's the beginning of the month, so I want to talk about the PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold games are going to be coming out for May here. So the May games for PS Plus are going to be out on May 4th. We have Wreckfest, Drive Hard, Die Last.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be for PS5. So Wreckfest. For PS4, Battlefield 5 and Stranded Deep. So, yeah. So, Wreckfest. So, burn rubber, break rules, and shred metal in this full contact racer from the creator of the Flat Out race and upgrade patch together cars, improving their looks and toughening up their body armor to survive the epic crashes and neck-to-neck fights over the finish line in competitive races. Enjoy some hilarity and challenge modes as you get behind the wheel of crop harvesters. There you go, Dan. Crop harvesters. Yeah. 3-wheelers and much more. Then challenge your friends online in multiplayer up to 24 players. So, yeah. Yeah. That might be a game for you, Dan, when you get the PS5, definitely.
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
Yeah. Battlefield 5 for PS4. Enter mankind's greatest conflict with Battlefield 5 as the series goes back to its roots in a never-before-seen portrayal of World War II. Experience all-out multiplayer with your squad in the vast grand operations and the cooperative combined arms, or take on single-player war stories. As you fight in epic, unexpected locations across the globe, enjoy the richest, most immersive Battlefield yet. And it looks like Battlefield 6 is going to be coming out in the fall, too. So it's kind of interesting that they're throwing it on PS Plus now. And last up, Stranded Deep for PS4. Test your survival skills in this open-world adventure. In the aftermath of a mysterious plane crash, you are stranded in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Alone without any means to call for help, you must do what you can to survive. Explore underwater and on land as you hunt for supplies to craft the tools, weapons, and shelter you'll need to stay alive. Hey, Wilson!
Brilliant.
Stay sharp. Hunger, thirst, and exposure conspire against you as you brave treacherous elements and the dangerous creatures of the Pacific. So, yeah. So, Stranded Deep. So, those are the games for PS Plus. So, they'll be available on May 4th.
Okay.
Games with Gold. This month, we have, for example, Armello. So, Armello is available May 1st to the 31st. Dungeons 3, available May 16th to June 15th. Lego Batman. There you go, Dan. Lego Batman. Available May 1st through the 15th. And Tropico 4. Available May 16th to 31st.
Cool. It's about 20 quid worth of games there. Woof.
Yeah.
That's a rough. Probably don't want to advertise those ones.
Yeah. So Armello is a grim fairy tale board game. It comes to life. This swashbuckling adventure brings together the deep tactics, of card games and the rich strategy of tabletop games, all combined into a character-building RPG. As a hero, you'll wage epic battles, explore the vast kingdom, cast spells, and vanquish monsters, all with the ultimate goal of becoming the next king or queen of Armello. So, yeah, Dungeons 3 help the dungeon lord succeed in conquest in this dungeon-building real-time strategy game. Head the front lines under the guidance of his chief lieutenant, the dark elf Thalia, and command the most terrifying army the world has ever seen. Choose among orcs, succubi, zombies, and more, and use every trick in the book to take down the do-gooders of the overworld once and for all. Lego Batman, of course, he is vengeance. He is the knight. He is Lego Batman. Build, drive, swing, and fight your way through Gotham as the Caped Crusader and his sidekick Robin. And in a gameplay twist, play as the villains in story mode and help in their nefarious plans to take over the city. And finally, Tropico 4. So, as El Presidente, the ruler of your small island nation, it is your job to gain the support of the people, negotiate with foreign superpowers, and even deal with any natural disasters which threaten your country. So, those are the games for Xbox Live with Gold for May. So, I've heard a lot of stuff online about a lot of PlayStation players are kind of a little grumpy and making their point known that they're unsatisfied with the PS Plus games for May. But yeah. And then with the games with Gold, like you were saying, Dan, about 20 quid worth of games.
Yeah, they're fairly meh, aren't they? But I don't know. I haven't played Battlefield 5. Is it any good? I played Battlefield 1. That was okay at best. Is 5 any good?
5's war stories are pretty interesting, kind of like Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
But I mean, the multiplayer elements are pretty much similar to Battlefield 1. So, yeah. I don't know, G, what about you?
I always thought Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 looked like the exact same thing. So I never bothered playing 5, to be honest, because I played a little bit of 1 and I didn't like it. And I thought, well, Battlefield 5 looks about the same, so I'm not bothering with it personally.
I see. Okay, so that's going to pretty much do it. So,
wait, can I throw in one thing before we go?
No problem. Go for it, man.
Prior to our early discussion, Judgment doesn't have a free upgrade.
Oh, it doesn't?
No,
I thought it did.
No, I just checked up just now, and it looks like now if you want to play it on the PS5, you can play it on the PS4 and the PS5. But it won't be a graphical upgrade. But no, if you want to play it, you've got to pay for a separate version. I mean, it makes sense because I know that 7 is like a dragon, you get a free upgrade, but that's because they came out.
Okay.
That game came out at the launch of the PS5 anyway, so it's got that crossover thing. But I guess because Judgment is 2-3 years old now. I think it's 2018 that came out in Japan at least.
Yeah, like two years or so.
Yeah, so I guess I've had to do more to it, which justifies charging you for a scratch again. So apparently, Judgment is a separate purchase.
Cool. Thanks, Dan, for the clarification on that. Yeah. So, all right. So before we conclude the episode, I want to let everyone know where you can find me on social media. You can find my website for gaming content at expat2020.live and all my other social media links to Twitter, Instagram, my Discord server, the podcast website, as well as my YouTube channels at Linktree. That's linktr.ee/expat2020. And I'm also a live streamer and a Twitch affiliate, and you can catch my live streams on twitch.tv/expat2020 as I do, for example, a supplement to the podcast on Fridays called The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news week in review live stream, which goes up at, I think it's 6 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time now. So you can check that out. That's it for me. G, where can people find you, man, on social media?
So most places you can find me. You can find me on Twitter at SadBoyGee1. I have a 1 at the end because I couldn't get the regular tag. Aside from that, you can catch my Twitch streams at SadBoyGee on Twitch TV. And that's about it as far as my social medias that I use consistently.
All right. So, G, thank you so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate you coming on today, man. And we hope to have you on again soon, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Great stuff.
Dan, how about you? Where can people find you? What are you going to be doing this coming week?
So you can find me on Twitch at Press Start to Game. That's all one word. It's 4 words condensed into one. Press Start to Game, all in one big long chunk. I stream whatever crap I feel like playing at the time. I'm not a regular streamer. Try to make it a bit more interactive from now on because that was actually quite fun last night. But if you like trains and weird stuff, then come find me. And I've got a YouTube channel under the same name, and I put a lot of stuff on there from the Twitch. You can watch last night's Master System Jukebox on YouTube or on Twitch, whatever you fancy. And I'm still working on that big project I've been working on. It's nearly done, so I'll upload that and give some details about that next episode, hopefully.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, just one more thing I want to add. This week is Golden Week here in Japan, so I have like 5 days off. So I'm going to be working on Resident Evil video for my YouTube channel, Expat 2020 Gaming. So look out for that. And I want to thank all my Japanese subscribers out here. They've really helped me this past week and the past month, actually. And I've finally reached the 100 subscriber mark on my YouTube channel. So over 100 subscribers now. So thank you so much to all of you Japanese subscribers and listeners out there. Thank you so much. So anyway, with that, it's time to end the show with our indie recording artist spotlight. This week's spotlight is on Luminaire. Luminaire is a Nashville-based singer-songwriter born and raised in a small town in Switzerland. Having started her musical education at age 4, she left Switzerland after high school to study 2 years at the New York Film Academy and then enrolled in the Berklee College of Music in Boston. She found a home in Nashville, where she has been writing heartfelt pop songs and giving singing lessons. From her album titled Me Plus You, and the song is called 5,000 Miles. This has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, episode 36. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Dan, and our special guest this week, Twitch streamer SadBoyGee. We hope to catch you in the next one. So take care, everyone. Peace out.
Bye.
Frozen in a crowded room full of strangers. Where are you, my love, my love? else, then who